Time with IPJ, my man, John Buckets. Hey, Buckets, how you doing, buddy?
In the betting space, not great, Ian, but in my personal life right now, I am doing fantastic. So a little bit of 50-50 right now.
We'll get into that in just a minute here, but first and foremost, let's discuss your dating life because
Oh,
a little check-in with you. The last time you told us at the end of the show that you'd been on one date, you've since moved to Columbus, Ohio. There's a lot of students there, Buckets like students, so why
nope.
wouldn't you enjoy dating? But at the same time, I'm hearing you've had a successful week. What's going on?
A successful week in the fact that I have not had a second date, Ian, in 3 years now. Usually you have the first one, it goes fine. I do nothing wrong. It's not my fault, but there hasn't been a lot of follow up. But this time, your boy Buckets has a second date this weekend. So I'm just kind of living off of that hype right now and excited for the week, man.
So wait a minute. You said you haven't had a second date in 3 years.
Oh, no, I have. I've had one. I've had one second date. Yep, I remember.
I think all the loyal listeners would have proven you wrong there because there was some weirdos that you've been dating before and previously tried to share the show with and didn't quite work out for you. And we apologize. The loyal listeners, the freaks of our show, would like to apologize as well. Welcoming everyone to the next edition, the second edition of Stoppage Time with IPJ and the main man, the blonde bombshell, the unicorn, John Buckets. Hey, Buckets, let's rapid fire through what happened this past weekend because it wasn't a good time for you. If I'm not mistaken, with our previous partners, the last episode, you didn't have a good time either. And in the comeback episode, you also didn't have a good time. So explain yourself here.
Yeah, I think it's just the jitters of doing the last episode and the first episode. You know, we got the bad stuff out of the way. We technically can only go up from here. It is not possible to do worse than an 0-4 day, which is exactly what I had in the first episode with our weekend quote unquote bangers that ended up not banging, Ian. And I'm going to be honest with you right up front. I don't even remember what the bets were. I have already gotten those out of my brain. I have moved past it. I don't remember that weekend at all. Actually, I remember one. Frosinone, draw no bet. Are you kidding me? Three? It's fine. It's fine. We can talk about it. I'm sure you remember all of the losses, Ian.
First and foremost, you just said that you couldn't do worse than 0-4, where this weekend we've got 5 bets from you. So there's always the opportunity of upping the stakes
Oh,
here to go 0-5. Let's hope it's not the case. But this is, of course, the game we play here. It's unfortunate what happened to you, but what would your message be to people out there? I actually see so many positive messages coming your direction, which is absolutely ridiculous. But it's because people have embraced our community. We recognize betting responsibly means that you wash these weekends away and just move on to the next.
we have to be one of the only betting communities on the planet when I can have an 0-4 day and all the comments are, hell yeah, Buckets, excited for next week, bounce back incoming, let's do this. We know long term you guys are successful. That is so rare to have in a space, especially one that involves money like this. So, what I want to tell all of our amazing loyal listeners is thank you for your kind words and support as always. But we know that this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Ian, I remember back when we were doing our first EPL previews. I think your very first EPL weekend, you had a sweep. You were on top of the world, feeling great. And 2 episodes later, you had your reverse sweep 0-4 day. It's just part of the game. And it's what we do here.
It is what we do, but fortunately for you, Buckets, this show was not a reverse sweep because the Joy Boy stepped up. Joy Boy provided one bet this past weekend. It was an FA Cup double, and I called it double trouble. It was a
Oh,
two-leg parlay, Tottenham against Burnley, and I was also looking at Newcastle against Sunderland. And of course, Tottenham, thanks to that cracking strike from Pedro Porro into the top corner, fucking won their game by 1-0. Thank you very much. And then, of course, the next day, I think it was Newcastle against Sunderland at Sunderland, and Buckets was on Sunderland
yeah.
double chance for some fucking reason. And I tried to tell him, I tried to warn him, this is the derby game and an opportunity for Newcastle to get some confidence back. They did so. They won by 3-0. Ballard with the own goal 35 minutes in, Alexander Isak with a double, and certainly celebrating in style with their supporters. So we hit a plus 144 right there from our first episode back of Stoppage Time. Here's a couple of stats for you, Buckets. The second win in 9 games for Eddie Howe. Fuck, he needed that one. Then Newcastle have beaten Sunderland across any competition for the first time since August 2011, ending their 9-game winless streak against their local rivals. Buckets, we did have some sort of success. It came at your expense, but at the same time, it's fucking good to be back, and at least we got one.
At least we got one. And we absolutely had success off the pitch as well, though, because our views, our subscribers, our comments, Ian, everything on that first episode, the support, however you say that word, the support was tremendous. And I could not be more grateful to our community.
Well, you had success off the pitch, didn't you, Buckets? Speaking of banging, oh my God,
Nope.
Buckets got a second
Nope.
date. All right, let's get into some of the comments from episode number 1, and there wasn't a lack of comments. It was fucking ridiculous. I'm going to go into the numbers later on in the show as we close out the show, but here are some comments from our loyal listeners. We fucking love you. Thank you so much for jumping in. Frank Rubino, he says, let's fucking have it again. We appreciate you, Frank. Let's go to Alex Etienne. He said, missed the show, something fierce. My 2 favorite footy cappers. Welcome back, fellas. I'm freaking ready to have it. Nate G, great to see you back again, buddy. As the great Stone Cold would say, oh, hell yeah. Welcome back, fellas. The freaks have been waiting. The freaks have been waiting, Buckets. We go to Lydia. Welcome back in, Lydia. We've missed you. We fucking missed you, Lydia. Oh my God, this makes me so happy. I love you guys. Always keep that energy. And I never, ever want you to stop saying the word fuck. Hashtag have it. Buckets.
I want to read. Can I read you a text from my dad who watched the first episode real quick? He said, does IPJ get paid per F-bomb? ? And it kind of seems like it, but I said, no, that is just who he is, and he will never change. I promise you that.
Yeah, listen, let me tell Papa for a quick second here, of course, as I stutter, because I don't want to make him a little bit, upset at me. No, I'm not joking here. I grew up Scottish. You can hear with the Scottish accent, and the swearing that comes from the language is just what we do. And you have to understand, working in the sports media business for 12 years, you can't say the word fuck on television or national television. You just can't. So having the opportunity, and it's why we created this with producer Rob back in the day, so that I could say the word fuck. We want it to be as natural in general as possible. And so many people love that. Let's go to Angie's. Says, great for you guys to stand up for yourselves and for your brand. Much love and respect. Hashtag have it. We've got C. Giaru 11. Great to have you guys back. 2 of the realest guys to do it in the space who truly care about their community. I'm not even a very big soccer fan, admittedly. A lot of what I know is listening to your show. So thanks for having a new fan of the sport on board. Look forward to routine trips to the bank. Let's cash it. Best of luck in the new endeavor. We've got Nick May saying the best in the soccer business. Keep grinding, lads. The good fortune will come soon. You fucking better believe it. Then we've got Jack C0395. Let's go. Glad to have you boys back. Maria Herrera. Fantastic show. So glad to have you guys back. Love the transparency. Love the knowledge. And most of all, love that the 2 of you have love for not only this beautiful game, but also for each other. Just grateful that you share all of that with us. Hey, listen, let's not fucking forget the fact the Buckets also loves having a second date. We've got Achilles fan. Welcome back into you, Achilles. Heel. Fuck yeah, welcome back, boys. I'm glad you didn't sell out and are waiting for the right partners. An uncensored Ian is the best Ian. Hey, Buckets, go blue. What the fuck does that mean, Buckets?
Oh, he's a Michigan fan, yeah?
No fucking idea. What does it mean? You tell me.
I think he knows that I'm in Columbus now, and Michigan just, I think, beat Washington in the national championship in, I forget what you call American football, the egg game or the oval game, something like that.
Egg chasing,
yeah. So that's just a dig at my new city, which is fine.
That's okay. Welcome back in, Salim. I respect the shit out of you guys. Stoppage time has become family. You're fucking right, Salim. Great to hear from you. We've got DT Tubin. Didn't realize how much I love this show until it was gone. Welcome back. We've got Brian K 5840. Fellow freaks, we are officially back. Let's fucking have it. Appreciate the transparency and why y'all were away. Y'all have always been open with us. Why you left the old partner, mental health, thoughts on controversial topics, doesn't matter. You share your thoughts and we appreciate the openness. Buckets, we'll never ever stop talking about mental health. And of course, when you're in the betting space, like we do have with our loyal listeners and the freaks out there, mental health and us discussing mental health and being open about it is so important because you do go through some difficult times on this roller coaster.
You absolutely do, especially when money is involved. It's just going to naturally take a toll on you, especially also when you're putting all this time and you think, I found the perfect bet. I found this, guaranteed winner. And then you go 0-4. That can be mentally exhausting. But I promise you all one thing. We will never stop talking about or advocating the importance of mental health, Ian.
Ryan's Gary on that note here, Buckets, he said, you guys helped me through a lot of dark days when I needed something to pick me up, and I fully support the show and appreciate you guys staying loyal and not selling out. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the journey. We appreciate you, Ryan's Gary. All the best. We've got Nicholas L. Wine. Nicholas, I don't fucking know. Someone with wine in it. IPJ, do you have a regular appearance schedule on the Galazzo network? Thank you for the question. I don't necessarily have the regular appearance just yet. We're still continuing to grow the CBS Sports Galazzo network. So every now and again, check in. Most Mondays and Fridays for the moment, I will be on Box to Box, which is 1 p.m. Eastern. You can catch me there throughout the afternoon. That schedule will most likely change along the line because me and Buckets, we have big plans. And of course, CBS Sports has big plans. And of course, the Galazzo Network has big plans. And I would imagine at some point, you'll see my fucking beautiful face all over CBS Sports at some point a lot more frequently. So watch this space and certainly make sure you're following across our social media platforms, including mine at Joy Paulian and including on Twitter, on X, at FC StoppageTime, because we will be posting my schedule, Buckets' schedule, as we go down the line, and also content pretty much every day now, which is fucking awesome. We've got Boxcar Boys. Boys, chill on the OnlyFans talk. My girl watches this with me. Joke, joke. Great first show. That was a pretty good one, Buckets.
That's a great one. Yeah, I had multiple people comment being like, "You promised you're keeping the show free, but OnlyFans cost money." Buckets. What's the truth?
I heard for a rumor that you can actually get naked pictures of very famous celebrities for as low as $7 on OnlyFans. So never actually opened the app. Maybe I'll check it out. Stephen Mack jumping back in. Welcome back, boys. Respectfully, it's about fucking time. Way to kick the new year off by giving us what we've been waiting for: the energy, the picks, the content, and Buckets' dating life. Cheers, boys. Let's fucking have it. Buckets, we have created a fucking animal with our show Stoppage Time, and it is not without the love and support of all you loyal listeners out there, the fucking freaks. We fucking love you.
I love how proud everyone is to be called a freak now in the comments too. As soon as Rob said that back on the old show, people immediately were like, "I am a freak." So what? Take pride in your freakiness, Ian, because we are all freaks together in this beautiful game.
Producer Rob shit himself when he did that, by the way. He was like, fuck, I fucked up. They're going to cancel me. They're going to fucking cancel me. Listen, we got a very betting and prediction heavy show for everybody today. So I wanted to get the comments out there because there were so many. Thank you. There were like ridiculous amount of comments on all of our social media platforms and YouTube. But we can't get to them all, of course. There was a lot of people just saying, welcome back. Thank you and continue to do so. Even if you've already written a message out to us, we always want to hear from you. The best comments will get out there on our show. It is a betting and heavy prediction show today. So we're going to get fired into it, Buckets, because I don't want to waste any time. People are here for the picks. And what was the name of that motherfucker? Eric Gunnarsson? He said,
our boy,
shut the fuck
Gunnarsson.
up and just focus on the bets. Was that the guy?
That was the guy, Eric Gunnarsson. Yeah, no, we got to do what right for him.
I didn't see Eric Gunnarsson in the comments. Eric, if you're out there, get back in touch. We missed you, man. Let's get it to it, Buckets. It's Bundesliga match day 17. We welcome it back, baby. It is back in a big, big way. Guess who's top of the league, Buckets?
It's not Bayern Munich. I know that much. Leverkusen?
No,
yeah?
Not Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are second right now on 38 points. They've got a game in hand over Leverkusen, who are top of the table right now on 42 points. Get this, though. Borussia Dortmund are down in 5th place in the table. They sit on 27 points. They are 6 points behind RB Leipzig, who are 4th in the table. If you have been following our social media platforms, you will have noticed that even today, which is a Wednesday, that we put out a video saying that there was a nice little pick in there if you're looking for a future. That was Borussia Dortmund right now, currently on DraftKings, plus 160 to finish in the top fucking 4. They're 6 points behind. I understand that. They played terrible in the first half of the season. They just signed Jadon Sancho by the looks of things. They've just signed Ian Maatsen from Chelsea. They're making moves. Buckets, do they get in the top 4?
I have been very vocal and very transparent on the fact that I cannot predict a Dortmund outcome to save my life. I've been on the wrong end of maybe 15 Dortmund bets already this season. However, I do think they're going to turn it around because this is Dortmund. This is a Champions League grade team that eventually will find their form. But the first half of the season, man, it was ugly for them.
Someone just rung the doorbell. Do they not know that I'm recording a show right now? I'm trying to record. I'm looking at Vivint right now. And I'm trying to get like, who the fuck is at my door right now? Anyway, we'll ignore them. Let's move on with it. Friday, January 12th, we've got Bayern Munich back in action against Hoffenheim. We move to Saturday the 13th. It's Augsburg against Leverkusen, Cologne against Heidenheim, Freiburg against Union Berlin, Mainz against Wolfsburg, Leipzig against Frankfurt. We've got Darmstadt against Dortmund. Big, big fucking games. Then we move to Sunday, Bochum against Werder Bremen, Gladbach against Stuttgart. A little update on the stats right now, Buckets. We've got the top goal scorer being a certain blonde bombshell himself. Who's top goal scorer?
Oh, is our boy Harry Kane up at the top right now?
Fucking right he is. He scored 21 goals. How many of those have been penalty kicks, Buckets?
Oh, I'm going to say 6.
No, 3 have been penalty
3.
kicks. Serhu Girassi, 17, second in the scoring charts. Lois Apenda with 11 and Boniface with 10. He has recently departed for AFCON duty and then come back because of a groin injury. We go to the assists. We have Leroy Sané with 8, Florian Wirtz with 7, Julian Brandt with 7, Xavi Sevens with 7, Beste from Heidenheim with 7, and Boniface himself also with 7. So there's a lot of people leading the way. Let's go to our predictions for match day 17. We have a look at the games, the scoreline predictions for all of these games. Buckets, I want at least also one scorer. So the correct score prediction, I want one scorer from those games for all of our loyal listeners out there to pay attention. And an advice to everybody out there, for those who are ignorant and don't listen to the information we're providing, there's no bets here. This is just advice me and Buckets are providing for everybody out there to make your own bet and create those bets. If you have a winner, share it in the comments. If you have to share it with us before on the show, share it before the weekend. Share it so other people can jump on the back of that one as well. There'll be a minute silence for Franz Beckenbauer, who died this past week on all Bundesliga games this weekend. Rest in peace, Der Kaiser, a Bayern Munich and Germany, and also a footballing fucking icon. What an absolute legend he was. Buckets, we move to Friday's game. It's Bayern Munich against Hoffenheim, and fittingly enough, Franz Beckenbauer played for Bayern Munich. They play on Friday. It's going to be a minute silence before the game, and I would imagine an awesome tribute for Der Kaiser.
I think it will be a fantastic tribute to Der Kaiser, and I think that Bayern Munich is going to play really, really well in this matchup. They have been a bit inconsistent. We see that because, frankly, they're not at the top of the table, which is where they are always expected to be. But we have to remember that Hoffenheim, at home specifically, is a tricky team to beat, and they're a tricky team to stop from scoring here. My score prediction is still going to be a 3-1 victory for Bayern Munich, but I think Hoffenheim will get on the score sheet. And you can bet whoever you want here, but if Kane is ever at playable odds in a Bayern Munich game, you just keep it simple and you take him.
I like it, Buckets, and I'm going to agree with you here. I think both teams to score absolutely hits. I'm going for Bayern Munich to win by 4-2 against Hoffenheim. I'm looking at Harry Kane, obviously getting on the score sheet. Not much value there in him having anytime goal scorer. 2+ goals is currently sitting at plus 160 across multiple sports books. As I mentioned already, he's got 21 goals so far in the campaign. Hoffenheim, they're 7th in the table. They've only lost 2 games on the road from 8 this season, and that's a really good away record. That's pretty impressive. But Bayern Munich will be too good. Bayern Munich are 4 points behind Leverkusen in the standings right now. They have a game in hand, but that means they cannot afford to drop points, especially when you come back after the winter break. How about this for a wager, Buckets? It is called the Buckets Classic. It's Bayern Munich first half over 1.5. It's currently sitting at plus 105, Buckets.
I think it's a great look. I think the break will be perfect for Bayern Munich, and I think they're going to come out swinging in this one.
Let's go to Cologne against Heidenheim.
Cologne versus Heidenheim. I believe very strongly in what is called a new manager bump here, Ian. Whenever a team brings on a new manager, whether it's, coincidence, whether it's because that manager's changing things, teams tend to play very well their first couple games when they do find new management. Heidenheim is surprisingly good for a newly promoted team. They're still in the top 10 of the Bundesliga, and Cologne obviously is nowhere close right now. But I think Cologne get at least a point out of this one. I'm actually looking at a 2-2 draw here, possibly a 2-1 for Cologne, but I think Cologne will at least get that all-important point from their first match under new management. And if I'm looking at a goal scorer, it's tricky because Cologne has only had 4 people that have scored all season, but I'm going with Davy Selke here, the man who is currently leading the team, albeit with only 4 goals. He's going to want to impress the new management here.
Davy Selke plus 165 right now across multiple sports books, 4 goals this season so far. Listen, my former teammate at St. Pauli, Timo Schultz, has taken over as the head coach of Cologne. And I called up my buddy, my good friend, John Bucketimer, and I said, listen, if this guy does a good job and gets them out of the relegation zone, we're going to a game. So if he has success, Buckets, I'm going to pay for us to go at the end of the season to go watch a game. How do you feel about that?
I am going to try to keep my bias out of it now. I'm going to be honest when I'm betting on Cologne, but I hope they win their next 10 games. No problem.
FC Cologne 2, Heidenheim 0. I'm going Cologne money line here. It's plus 105. At the same time, I just think that Timo needs a good result and they need to start winning games, Cologne. They've got a goal scorer in Davy Selke who needs to start scoring goals. However, this is a big problem for them. The reason why they're in the relegation zone. Cologne have only scored 10 goals in 16 fucking games. How fucking miserable is that? I wouldn't like to play for that team right now, but I've got a feeling that my boy can turn that team around because it is a sleeping giant in the Bundesliga. Let's go to the giants of the Bundesliga right now, the team who's top of the table, Leverkusen. They're away to Augsburg.
Oh, man, I don't know. I think the books are overreacting to the Victor Boniface injury personally because Leverkusen's like a minus 190 on the money line, which is not playable by itself, but I think Leverkusen are going to smash an Augsburg side that is not bad by any means, but they're definitely not good. And they're not good enough to stop a Leverkusen side that is still stacked even without Boniface. They've got Florian Wirtz, they've got Frimpong, they've got, I could pretty much just name all 11 players right now. This is a really solid team, Ian. I've got them winning this one 3-0. And without Boniface available, I'm actually going with your boy, Florian Wirtz, to score. He'll probably get an assist too, but I think he's going to step up here.
How about Grimaldo on that left-hand side for Leverkusen? The fucking guy scored 7 goals. He's like a left back, playing left wing back, playing left wing, scoring goals. He's insane, man. Dude scored more goals than about fucking, I think there's only 20 fucking strikers in the league who've scored less than him. Augsburg 1, Leverkusen 3. I'm going for both teams to score here. Leverkusen top of the table, of course. Boniface, as I mentioned already, went to AFCON, came back injured. No idea what the injury is like, but hopefully he's back soon enough. Leverkusen have not lost a game since May, when they played Bochum in the last game of the season. It's ridiculous. They're undefeated across all competitions this campaign. At some point, that comes to an end. Leverkusen have not lost on the road at 5 wins and 2 draws, as I mentioned already. It's pretty successful for them. I'm going in a different route here. I'm looking for a bit of a long shot. Jonas Hoffman to score. He's got 5 goals already so far. 5 goals. And he's currently sitting at plus 210 anytime goal score from midfield. So wouldn't put it past him getting on the score sheet if they get 3 or 4 goals in that game. Let's go to Freiburg against Union Berlin.
Oh man, is Union Berlin fixed, or are they still just going to lose every single game regardless of who they play? I think they're slowly turning things around here. I think they might even get a point out of this one, but Freiburg is good enough to at the very least get a draw here. I'm actually going with a high scoring draw. I've got 2-2 in this matchup, Freiburg versus Union Berlin, and I've got to look at my boy Vincenzo Grifo anytime goal scorer. Also, whenever his line comes out, anytime goal scorer or assist is very playable here, as he is leading the team in assist and is second in goals right now.
Vincenzo Grifo, anytime goal scorer. Give me an idea. You've clearly not looked at the sportbook
Not
what
at
this
this
line
line.
is. What do you think this line will be?
I think a fair line for this would be around plus 145, plus 150.
Vincenzo Grifo, 3 goals so far this season. Anytime goal score plus 240.
I like it a lot against Union Berlin, especially.
3 goals already this season. He has scored all 3 of his goals from the penalty spot, and that's where I would lean as well. Freiburg undefeated in 5 across all competitions at home, going up against Union Berlin, who are sort of doing better under their Croatian boss, Bielica. They're out of the relegation zone now, so they're getting better. I do think they scored in this game, but I just have a feeling that Freiburg, after the winter break, they just come back and they play better than they did in the first half of the table. So I'm thinking Freiburg will win by 2-1 here. Let's go to Mainz against Wolfsburg.
Oh man, this is a very tough one for me because I love betting goals. I love both teams to score. I love over on goals and all that good stuff, but I don't see that happening here. I'm actually looking at a Wolfsburg 1-0 victory against Mainz. Mainz is just terrible. I'm sorry. It's a team that I cannot back to save my life, and a name that I've missed saying so much for anytime goal scorers, Jonas Wind, baby. If you're betting a goal scorer for Wolfsburg, it pretty much has to be him at this point, I feel like. And it's usually playable odds because Wolfsburg isn't a good enough team to get 3 or 4 goals against more opponents.
Wolfsburg not been great though. Towards the end of that break, towards winter, they were poor,
Yep.
and Mainz couldn't get any worse. Mainz have only 1 win at home all season long. That is terrible. That's why I'm going for the complete opposite. I don't think both teams to score here, but I'm going for Mainz to win by 1-0. Wolfsburg have won only 2 games away from home all season long. So something has to give here. Either Mainz need to be better or Wolfsburg need to be better. Buckets is not far away from predicting this one because Jonas Wind has been very good for them. They score goals. They're dangerous. They clearly have better talented players. So they should create problems. But at the same time, inconsistency creeps in. I just have a feeling with a training session behind them, like a preseason, like a mid-preseason for Mainz, they'll be a better side in the second half. And at home, they need to be better. I'm going for a clean sheet here. If you are interested in it, it's plus 210 across multiple sportsbook. Leipzig against Frankfurt. What a great game this is.
This will be a fantastic game. And this is a game where I would not be shocked if either team won, if it ends in a draw. There's no scoreline that would really shock me too much here, but I am going to go for 2-1 Leipzig, specifically because I've got another guy whose name I've just missed saying so much. Luis Openda has been phenomenal since he transferred from Ligue to the Bundesliga, and his form has just been incredible all season long. He is scoring, he is assisting, he is playmaking, he is doing everything that this Leipzig team needs him to do, and he's kind of the reason that Leipzig is still alive at the moment and in a top 4 conversation. Frankfurt, not bad by any means. They're a tough team to beat, but Frankfurt is a team that I like backing at home specifically. Not quite as scary on the road and not as scary when they do not have their ultras backing them up here. I think Leipzig win. I think both teams do score. I think it's a pretty close one, Ian.
Lois Apenda -120. Is that playable?
That's playable to me. Yep.
I agree with that. 11 goals so far this season. I broke down him because I want our loyal listeners to get more information. 65 shots he has taken. 65. He's got 31 of them on target, 11 goals from those 31 that are on target. Pretty efficient if you consider the breakdown. 65 shots, 31 on target. So one every 2 shots hits the target. That's impressive. And then you get 11 goals. So 11 from every 31 on target ends up in the back of the net. I mean, it's fucking brilliant if you break it down in that way. He's been very, very good. So 4th against 6th in the Bundesliga. Leipzig 3, Frankfurt 1 I'm going for. Leipzig have scored 12 more goals in league play than Frankfurt this campaign. Leipzig 0 defeats at home. So let's face it, that Frankfurt have got a mountain to climb in this one. They have had a recent change as well. Timo Werner's left the club and gone to Tottenham Hotspur on loan, but he wasn't playing much anyway. So I don't think they're going to miss a beat here. And I think Leipzig will be better. They know that Dortmund's right behind them in the table in 5th place. So they need to be better. And they're probably trying to get above Stuttgart, who I would imagine at some point will fall down the standings. So I'm going for Leipzig to win by 3-1. Let's go to Darmstadt against Borussia Dortmund. It's the later kickoff on the Saturday. This is a cracking game, Buckets, and I'm expecting goals here.
This is a great one. I'm expecting goals too, but as I've already mentioned, be careful tailing me on Dortmund looks here because Dortmund is just a tough team to bet. They're showing up in Champions League and clean sheeting Newcastle both times, and then they're struggling in the Bundesliga against teams they shouldn't be struggling against. But I think the break will do them some good. I've got Dortmund winning this one 3-0. I think Darmstadt is capable of scoring, but I just don't see it happening in this specific matchup. And I know there's a bunch of goal scorers you would take for Dortmund, but as soon as I remembered that Nicholas Füllkrug is now with his Dortmund squad, and I've seen that Sebastian Haller just hasn't been playing as good as I was hoping, I've got to go with Füllkrug right now to score.
I'm not far away with you here. I think that Borussia Dortmund will win this game by 4-0. Darmstadt could score a goal in this game, so I'd be careful betting on the clean sheet. But I do think that Dortmund get 3 or 4 in this game. Dortmund are 5th in the table, which is outside of a Champions League spot. We've already talked about that as well. That's nowhere near good enough for Borussia Dortmund. They've won only 7 from 16 games. For some reason, they're sticking by Edin Terzic. I like him. I think he's a good coach. He almost won the Bundesliga last year. So why fire him? Give him some tools. They brought back Jadon Sancho. They're bringing in Ian Maatsen from Chelsea, the left back, on loan. So that's going to change. That's going to make them a better team in 2024. I expect Dortmund to be better. I expect them to start winning games consistently, and it starts with this game against Darmstadt. I'm looking at Julian Brandt, anytime goal scorer, plus 190 right about now. 5 goals, 7 assists on the season so far. Maybe you want to lean on the goal or an assist, or a goal and an assist, whichever way you want to go there. I think Julian Brandt, if he starts this game, will have something to say about it. I did watch their game, highlights of their game in Marbella. I think they were doing test games, friendly games, and I think Marco Reus was out for personal reasons. So watch out betting on him this weekend. Make sure he's in the starting lineup. That game is on Saturday. Let's go to Sunday. Bochum against Werder Bremen.
This is another tough one for me because these are generally two teams that I just don't have a lot of faith in. You know, they're kind of middle of the table teams. They never do really incredible things, and they're never usually too bad. Defensively, neither team is really great right now. But I'm actually looking at a 1-1 draw here, Ian. But what I like more than anything is my goal score look for VfL Bochum. Right now, Bochum's top goal scorer is a Japanese player named Takuma Asana, who is gone on international duty. He did get the call up to play with the Japanese national team, which means it is time for our boy, a guy who we have hit on before back on the earlier version of Stoppage Time, Kevin Stoger, anytime goal scorer. I apologize because I did not look at that line yet, but without Takuma Asana available, Kevin is going to be in charge of stepping up, and he's going to be in charge of penalty duty for a match that could be a little bit chippy here with both teams desperate for points.
I like this look, Buckets, but I'm going somewhere different here. I'm going for Bochum 1, Werder Bremen 2.
Okay.
13th against 14th in the Bundesliga, 16 points each. They're both equal on points. Both of them need the points, and they both need a good start to 2024, as Buckets already pointed out. Werder Bremen are the worst away team in the Bundesliga. 0 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws. So yes, I may have lost my fucking mind. Bochum only 2 wins at home, and that's intriguing to me. So they've been pretty poor at home. And I just have this feeling, I love the winter break in Germany. I know me and you discussed it. We don't like the break because we want the games. But I used to love it as a player. It was great because it gave you refreshment. And if you weren't having a good season, you could go take some time, spend some time with your family, rejuvenate, get the confidence back, and then fucking go again. So I'm going for Werder Bremen to come good. And I'm thinking Marvin Duksch to get on the score sheet. 7 goals, 4 assists from him in a team that's not playing well. He's plus 190 anytime goal score. What do you think about that?
I like it. I disagree with Werder winning, but I do like both of our goal scoring looks a lot here.
They haven't won a game all season. Of course you fucking disagree. Everyone disagrees that they're going to win this fucking game. Let's go to Borussia Mönchengladbach against Stuttgart.
Let me make sure I'm not crazy here before I say anything. Girassi is out, correct? He's injured?
Girassi should be out, but you will have to wait until lineups because I don't know if he's completely out.
Okay, be very careful betting on this one then, because Girassi has obviously made a massive impact on the squad, and Stuttgart plays a lot different when he's available than when he's not available. I do think, regardless of Girassi's play, Stuttgart do win against Gladbach. Gladbach is not a team that I trust. They're a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde scenario where they'll show up one week and look phenomenal, and then they'll lose the next 3 or 4 in a row. So be careful betting on anything with Gladbach. But for my goal scoring look, I am betting this on the assumption that Girassi will not start for Stuttgart. And when Girassi is out, Dennis Undav is the guy that steps up. He has only 8 starts so far this season, but 9 goals so far this season as well. He tends to come off the bench in kind of the 70th minute, but when Girassi has not been available, he's been playing up at that 9 spot, Ian.
He is confirmed out. He is out until early February, so no idea when he will come back exactly. It looks like a thigh injury for him, so just check that out there. Confirmed out, so Undav will be the guy up top there. You think, what was your score?
2-1 Stuttgart.
I'm going for Borussia Mönchengladbach to beat them 3-1.
Okay.
Listen, here it is. I think Stuttgart are overachieving. When you have Girassi and then you have Undav, fabulous. It's 2 amazing players who are having great seasons so far. But at some point, that luck runs out and eventually it turns sour. And at some point, you would have to think what I'm saying, the opposite of, oh, this break's great for teams who have been struggling or players who have been struggling. But for teams who are doing well, the break is not something you want. You want to keep playing. And then you have this break. It gives other teams an opportunity to get better. And I think Gladbach will be better. So that's why I'm going for a bit of a shock here. Stuttgart are 3rd in the table. Gladbach are 12th in the table. Gladbach have won only 4 games all season. That's pretty shit. Stuttgart have lost only 4 games all season. That's pretty fucking awesome. Gladbach, they need to be better at home. They will be better at home. And I think this game is a dangerous one for Stuttgart. That's why I'm going for this result. Gladbach on the money line here for everybody out there. This is just advice. This is nothing more than advice here. Gladbach on the money line plus 250. Gladbach double chance minus 115. Alisson player, anytime goal scorer plus 210. Buckers, your thoughts?
I am going to continue to disagree with you on this. I will say, I think this is a fantastic look because I do agree with you that Stuttgart is overperforming and eventually we will see them start to lose points and lose games. I just don't know if Gladbach is the team that's going to start that for them.
All right, let's go to the questions. Does any one player score more than 1 goal? Clearly, everybody heard me early on say Harry Kane plus 160. Where are you going?
For the first time in stoppage time history, I have no one. I do not think there will be a single brace in this match day of the Bundesliga. I think coming off a break, it's always good to just take things a little bit slow when you're betting on teams returning because, as you mentioned, teams respond differently to the break. Some teams are ecstatic for it, some teams hate it. I think there will be goals, but I've got no standout player for this week, Ian.
I'd watch out for someone from either Leipzig or Borussia Dortmund because I've got them scoring multiple goals. Who do you have having a good assist, and where are you going with this one?
Good assist is actually someone that you mentioned already as well. As much as I don't like betting on Dortmund, if Julian Brandt starts, I'm taking him to assist right now. He is tied for second along with apparently 9 other people in the Bundesliga, but he is one of the just creative guys that can create chances from nothing, and he's got no problem setting up the absolute wealth of strikers that Dortmund has available to them.
I'm going for Leipzig's Xavi Simons. He's been fucking on fire
Fantastic.
this season. Plus 240 anytime assist, which is absolutely insane. Guys on form right now. Which goalkeeper or team do you think will have a clean sheet? I'm actually going for Cologne here. I'm going for Schwabe if he starts for Cologne. I don't know if they will start him. Just for Cologne to have a clean sheet is plus 220, just so everybody knows.
I think it's a good look. I'm going to be going with Lucas Radecki playing for Bayer Leverkusen right now. Leverkusen is the only team in the Bundesliga that is conceding less than 1 goal per match right now. Even Bayern Munich is conceding 1 per match. Leverkusen only 11 or 12 goals allowed in their 16 matches. And a big part not only comes from him between the sticks, but from how solidly the back line plays defense as well for Leverkusen.
When my betting partner, my co-host of the show, Stoppage Time, and the blonde bombshell, the unicorn, John Bucketimer, goes 0-4, what I like to do is put him back into the fucking fire. Let's fucking go, Buckets. It's time for your best bets. That wraps up our Bundesliga picks. Everybody out there, share your predictions. If you're on any bets, share them with us across social media or jump in the comments on YouTube. Feel free to share the show as much as possible as well. We would appreciate it. But let's get to Buckets' best bets. You know, it wouldn't be a show of stoppage time without having his best bets, especially when he had a shit week last week. It's time for the rebound. And you know, when Buckets rebounds, he rebounds in a big way. So we got the Premier League, domestic club league action is back. The Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, Liga, and Bundesliga, of course, as we just mentioned, all back in action this week. We have games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Buckets, we don't fucking sleep 24/7, which is why we're very active on our social media. Next Tuesday is the replays of the FA Cups as well. From you, Buckets, we're going to go 1 for 1. I want 5 best bets here. I'm not looking for players. You can go anywhere you want. It can be prop bets, it can be parlays, it can be anything you want. But I want 5 best bets. And what I'm going to do to challenge you is I want a best bet for Thursday, for Friday, for Saturday, for Sunday, and then you can choose either Monday or Tuesday for your 5th bet. Let's begin with your best bet on Thursday.
Let's do this, Ian. But before I give it the best bets, I want to ask you something real quick. In the comments, we've been seeing a lot of people saying, Buckets and Ian, why aren't we getting a graphic at the bottom telling us what the bet are? And we're getting that comment a lot. So do you have something we can address real quick, just all the people wondering about that before we get into the bets here?
Yeah, listen, of course, as we are going along here, we are doing the best we possibly can just simply to get content out there. We need our show to be out there because the loyal listeners demand and they need it. Clearly, you see by the numbers, our community wants the show. We're providing it. But that's all we can do right now. Until we get some budget and funding behind it, we will not have graphics. It's just going to be something we got to be patient with. And for people who are asking for the podcast, that's going to come down the line. We're not far away from it. We're talking months. We're not talking years here, but we're just enjoying the process and bringing the show back to you. So everybody be patient. The graphics will come back. But in the meantime, watch the fucking show and shut up.
All right, let's get into our Thursday best bet, Ian, where I found an absolute banger of a bet for Thursday. I'm in the Turkish Super League, and I'm looking at Sivasspor, who is absolutely shambolic at home, hosting one of the big dogs of the Turkish Super League, Galatasaray. And this Galatasaray side is a little bit messy right now. Mauro Icardi, their top goal scorer and best player, arguably, is out right now with a facial injury. They're also missing a lot of people to call-ups both in AFCON and the Asian Cup. Players like Hakim Ziyech and Cedric Bakambu are both out, as well as Boris Yilmaz on the back line, who is out with a yellow card. But there is one player on Galatasaray right now that I think is probably a little bit pissed off and will be stepping up in a big way. I'm looking at Wilfried Zaha to score or assist at plus 120. Zaha has been one of the better players and better pickups so far for Galatasaray across the board. He doesn't have a ton of starts, but he is scoring a ton of goals when he starts. And most noticeably, he was arguably a little bit snubbed by Ivory Coast, who was hosting AFCON, as he did not get a call up to play with his international team. So now he has the chance to show Ivory Coast, hey, you missed out by not grabbing me. He has a chance to score or assist at plus 120, which for me is absolutely insane odds, considering a Galatasaray squad against Sivasspor should score 3, 4, 5 goals here, even without Icardi and Ziyech.
Not bad, Buckets. I like this bet a lot. I'm a huge fan of Wilfried Zaha as well. 6 goals, 1 assist in 14 matches in Super League play, which is impressive. 7 goals, if I'm not mistaken, in 21 games across all competitions since he arrived in Turkey. He's a great player. And I agree with you. When people are pissed off, they always have a tendency that next game to really show up. And this is a top talented player. The record against Sivasspor is pretty interesting as well. These two teams love going head to head against each other. Had a look at the last 5 games. Galatasaray 2-0. We've got Galatasaray 2-1 in the previous 2 games. Then we had a Sivasspor 3-2 away win in 2022 May, and then Sivasspor 1-0 home win. That's the 4th game, and then 2-2 previously that as well. So pretty even matchup here, but I do agree with you. Outside of injuries and concerns that Galatasaray have, this is going to be a game that you would expect players like Zaha to really show up. Let's go to your best bet for Friday.
Friday, I know that Bayern Munich play Friday, but that is not where I'm going, Ian. I'm going to an absolute slugfest in the English Championship with Hull City hosting Norwich, and I'm taking both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at minus 120. I know Ian didn't ask for a parlay party, but I have to give a parlay party where I can. Ian, we have talked time and time again about how brutal the grind is in the English Championship. These teams are already 26 games into their season, and they are still going strong. The reason I picked this matchup is because we have 2 teams that play the exact style of footy that I love so much. These are attack-minded teams who, frankly, just don't really care about defense. These are teams that are not going to win 1-0 or 2-0. These are teams that like to win 3-1, 4-2, kind of crazy score lines. Both teams have already scored 40 plus games or 40 plus goals so far this season in their 26 games, and both teams have conceded 35 plus in the 26 games. These are two middle of the pack teams that don't have a ton to play for right now, but there's still enough season where if they can turn it on now, they can have a conversation of being in the top four in the championship. Also, these two teams have played 3 times in the last 18 months, with both teams to score and over 2.5, Ian, hitting in all 3 of those. So if you're a fan of head to head history, this might be a match that you really like.
Love the bet. Love the bet for multiple reasons. I will say this though, Hull are a good side. They play some good football. If I'm not mistaken, they just made a recent signing of somebody from the Premier League as well. I can't remember who it was they brought in on loan. I'll have a look at that in just a minute. But Norwich City, Josh Sargent playing for Norwich City. He's back from injury and he's back scoring goals. Already got one since he returned. He got 3 goals before he got seriously injured. So 4 goals in 6 appearances only for Josh Sargent as he fights his way back into the team. And of course, Hull City are trying to get consistently winning games. They've not been great, but most recently, I just checked it out. Fabio Carvalho signed from
Yes.
Liverpool for Hull City. So expect goals in that game, and both teams desperate to get into the playoff positions. Hull just outside of the playoff position right now by a point in 7th, and Norwich are mid-table right now, desperate to try and get back in the fight. Let's go to Saturday because there are some great fucking games.
There are some amazing games, and I'm finally giving us our first Bundesliga official pick since we've been back. I am all over this Augsburg versus Leverkusen match because, as I mentioned, I think the books are overreacting just a little bit to Victor Boniface being out. I know that he's the top goal scorer. That just doesn't matter to me because we can't pretend that this team is not stacked. As you mentioned, Alex Grimaldo, Frimpong, Jonas Hoffman, Florian Wirtz, Jonathan Tah. This team is incredible, and the fact that you can get Leverkusen, a team that averages 4 goals almost scored per game, first half money line here, Ian, at plus odds against an Augsburg side that probably will play a bit defensive and play for that kind of grindy, low scoring draw. It just doesn't matter right now. Leverkusen on the first half money line at plus 100 feels like an absolute gift for a team that I think could score 2 or 3 in the first half.
Listen, this is a gamble, obviously, at the highest order when you're going for any first half bet. I think the favorite one you've always had is the over 1.5 for Bayern Munich. But when you've got a Leverkusen side their own form, why would you bet against them, especially the way they're playing? I think at some point they're going to drop some points. I don't think it'll be this weekend. Their away record so far, they've only played 7 games on the road so far. Let's not forget that. They played 9 at home, 7 away from home. And from those 7 games away from home, they've scored 17 goals, which is okay. It's nothing special compared to the 29 and 9 games that they played at home. But yeah, listen, you're going to find it very difficult stopping Leverkusen from creating chances and scoring goals. So I like the bet. I'm not saying I love it, but I do like it. Let's go to Sunday.
Sunday, I'm giving us our first Premier League as we welcome back all of the big leagues finally. And this match features, hands down, my favorite English Premier League team, and it's not even close, Ian. I'm looking at the match between Everton, that's not the team I like, sorry, hosting Aston Villa. Aston Villa has just been incredible. They are so much fun to watch. This is a team that just scores goals for fun right now. And let's not forget that Aston Villa is second on the EPL table. They're ahead of Man City. They're ahead of Arsenal. They're ahead of everyone except Liverpool right now. Everton, on the other hand, they did get that point penalty, but since then, they've been playing pretty good. However, their last 3 matches have now been back-to-back losses, losing to Wolves, City, and I think it was Spurs on that third one here. I'm looking at these lines. I'm trying to find the best value, and I'm seeing that I can get Aston Villa draw no bet at a playable line, which I will take any single match regardless of their opponents. This is currently minus 135 across the sports book. It's a little bit of juice here, but I think at absolutely the worst case scenario, Aston Villa is coming away with a single point here. I know Everton can be tricky at home, but I don't think they have what it takes to beat Aston Villa outright, Ian.
Can I just remind you that Calvert-Lewin is suspended for Everton as well, so they've lost some sort of firepower right there. Does it make you a little bit nervous though that Everton did knock Aston Villa out of the EFL Cup most recently?
It doesn't make me nervous. If anything, I kind of like that because then you get to add the revenge narrative of maybe even a more pissed off Aston Villa side showing up.
The last time that Everton actually beat Aston Villa in the Premier League was March 2016. So you're onto something there, Buckets, especially the way Villa are playing right now. They're at the top of the table. And at the top of the table, anything can happen. You have an opportunity to challenge Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, and finish in a Champions League spot. I mean, there are a lot of teams who are chasing for a top 4 spot, but the way Aston Villa are playing right now, I wouldn't put it past them from winning this fucking game. Everton are a good side, though. I'm just going to throw it out there. The 10-point deduction put them just above the relegation zone right now. They've done so well to get out of the relegation zone with some consecutive victories, but most recently, they've not been great. They're a good side, but they've not been great. So there's an opportunity here, and Villa are certainly a better side. Let's go to, where are we now? Sunday? Monday?
We're on Monday or Tuesday slate, and I'm going to a Tuesday matchup. Ian, you and I are taking a little trip to Italy as we're going to look at a Serie A matchup between Juventus and Sassuolo. And I think this one is going to be tricky. I do not think personally you will like this one, but I at least want to share the bet and I want to give you my reasoning. Juventus is defensively incredible. They are conceding much less than 1 goal per game. They're a part of the Champions League conversation. This is a really solid Juventus side. Sassuolo, on the other hand, they're fine. Their main goal right now is probably just to avoid relegation and kind of come out there and just improve during the season. However, I am looking at Juventus right now. I'm trying to find value in a team that's hard to bet. And Ian, I absolutely love both teams to score at -110. I know Juventus is fantastic defensively, but in their recent form, they have not been. They just played back-to-back games against one of the worst teams, I believe the actual worst team in Italy's Serie A, Salernitana, and they conceded in both of those matchups, albeit they won 6-1 and I think 2-1. But this is a Juventus side that even though they're winning, they're conceding 1 goal per match a bit too frequently. They've conceded only a single goal in 7 of their last 10 matches. So this is a team that likes to give up 1 goal and then win that kind of 2-1, 3-1 matchup, but they're just not keeping clean sheets at the rate that I want to see them do that. And Sassuolo, they get to just play for fun at this point. They know that Juventus are the favorites. They know that Juventus should win. So that allows them to just say, screw it. We're going to go for goals. If we lose 5-0, so be it. But we're going to come out there and we're going to try to, at the very least, get a point off this, Ian.
You know, Juventus have won a lot of games this season to put themselves
Yeah.
in contention to challenge Inter at the top of the table. Do you know how many games they've lost?
Not off the top of my head, no. It's not a lot.
1 game. Do you know who that game was to?
Was it Sassuolo?
They lost 4-2 in
I forgot
Sassuolo.
that.
It was one
Oh,
of the most comical fucking games I've ever seen. There was an own goal in that game that everybody has to go out there and search on social media or on
I
YouTube.
remember that. Where
Yeah,
the
from
kickback to,
Gatti.
yeah.
Yeah. Passed it back to the goalkeeper straight into the back of his own net. It was a great fucking finish, but just on the wrong fucking goal. That game finished 4-2, and it was an emphatic game. But since then, Sassuolo have been on a downward spiral. However, to Buckets' point of view, Sassuolo just had a big win against Fiorentina, which was a massive and much needed win. It gets them closer to being away from that relegation zone. They're currently sitting in 14th in the table. And of course, Juventus are chasing Inter at the top of the table to try and remain competitive. I think Juve at home will be too strong, but both teams to score should have every opportunity of hitting in this game. And I really like that bet. Buckets, great job, man. How did you feel actually getting your bets together, going ahead this week after going 0-4? Obviously, you want to do well, and I know it drives you crazy because you want to provide for our loyal listeners.
Yeah, no, I hate losing. You know, I'm someone that's always hated losing more than I enjoy winning. So whenever I do have an 0-4 day, I have to kind of take a seat back. I gotta, process, kind of go through what happened. But I've been doing this long enough, Ian, that my processes do not change. Whether I go 5-0 or 0-5, I do the exact same thing for the next week. I sit down in front of my computer, I research the games, I look at every possible angle, and I do my very best to provide my very best bets to our loyal listeners.
Loyal listeners, take note and learn from the best right there, John Bucketimer. Even in dark days, in disappointment weekends, you just have to find a routine that works for you. And Buckets always finds a way to come back stronger. Buckets, you ready for my best bet for this weekend?
I am. Can I jump in and say something real quick about today,
Yeah,
Ian?
yeah.
So I gave out a bet this morning that was Fenerbahce and Konyaspor, both teams to score at +110. Fenerbahce was up 7-0 in the 88th minute. Konyaspor scores 7-1 to get the pity goal and to cash that bet. This is another reminder I want to give people. A bet does not end until that final whistle blows. I have people all the time at halftime go, "Oh, this bet is screwed. I can't believe we took blah blah." Just wait. 45 minutes is a lot of time to play, and people make mistakes. They're all human. Just have some patience, Ian. Let's hear your best bet.
And the beauty of what we're doing here at Stoppage Time as well is that we now have the opportunity to be able to put those bets out there on our social media
Yep.
platforms. So watch out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're always trying to put little wagers out there for people to take advantage of. And even though we provide not a lot of bets on our shows, and we provide you our best bets, there are a lot of bets that we like to just throw out there from what we're feeling that day. And now having the social media freedom to be able to create our own monster,
Yep.
we're doing that every day. So it's either myself or Buckets you'll find on our social medias at FC StoppageTime. Please go and jump on and follow along. All right, this one's called the Relegation 6-pointer. I'm going to the English Premier League. It's Burnley against Luton. Burnley on the money
Yes.
line, -107. Luton +300 on the money line. My best bet here for the weekend. Oh, yes. It's Burnley on the money line. It is
Oh,
-107 currently. And it's a risky bet. Let me just tell everybody, but I fucking love it for multiple reasons, and I'm going to explain why. Burnley are 19th in the league. They are second bottom, 4 points behind Luton, 11 points total, scored 20 goals, conceded 41. At home, they're the worst team in the league. They've played 10 games. They've won only one. They've drawn zero. They've lost 9 games. Scored 10. They scored 5 of them in one fucking game against Sheffield United,
Yep.
and they've conceded 24. It is desperation times for both of these clubs, without a shadow of a doubt. Burnley need a win. They need a win badly. Vincent Company needs a win, and he needs a win badly. It's a big game for them. And of course, this season, they're at home. They need to start in 2024 in a positive manner, get their fans back on side. It really is a big opportunity to do that against a team that's close to you in that relegation battle. So, as I mentioned, Company needs this win. I'm not saying they're going to fire him in any way, but I am saying if you keep losing games, at some point, they got to make some changes. Luton Town, 18th in the league right now. They've won only 4 games. They've won 2 away from home. They've scored only 10 goals away from home. They've conceded 20 away from home. They're a good side, Luton. I've watched them most recently play some good football, but I did watch them recently in the FA Cup. They drew 0-0 against Bolton, and they did not look sharp at all. They looked poor. They may have cost me a unit or two, but at the same time, they didn't look good. And it always sticks in the back of my head when they put out a performance like that. So I just don't think I'm going to miss this one. I think it's an opportunity for Burnley. There's a rivalry there to just take an advantage of a team that's similar to them and trying to stay in the Premier League. This is Burnley's 6-pointer right here. They win this game, they have a chance of getting away from the relegation zone. They lose this game or don't win this game, I think Burnley are essentially in a big black hole and they could get sucked into that relegation bubble. So, as I mentioned to everybody, please bet responsibly. This bet does take place, this game does take place on Friday. So, don't fucking miss it. Buckets, your thoughts?
Ian, I love this bet. And I was this close for making Burnley 1.5 team total one of my best bets because I liked it that much. And something you touched on real quick there is extremely important. When teams come off of, cup games are tricky. We've talked about that. But when you have a team like Luton Town who cannot beat a team that is a division, 2 divisions, 3 divisions below them, that takes a mental toll. Just look at Chelsea and Middlesbrough in the AFL Cup this weekend or this week. They lost to a championship team, and that's the kind of loss where it sits with you for a bit. And you go, okay, something's off here, and that carries into the next game. I think Burnley win this game outright, and I think they might win it by a couple goals because Luton Town is just in a bad spot right now. This is a fantastic look.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I always like the confidence and support from you as well. Hey, listen, our episode number 1 away from our previous partners and the new edition of Stoppage Time was a real success. We had over 2,700 views on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. We had 320 plus likes on YouTube, 80 plus comments,
Wow.
which is ridiculous. We have 850 plus subscribers now. And of course, we've got 3,900 plus followers on X or Twitter. It was a massive success, Buckets. It was a great feeling seeing the numbers once again, seeing our community back again, the joy from people. It was a big hit.
It was a big hit. And I think for me, that gives me a lot of confidence to let me know that, and I've always known this, but we're doing the right thing here. We're doing our show our way for our viewers. And that's what we've always wanted to do. And that's what we're always going to do. And we're seeing success so early on because that's what people wanted from us. We're not the show that's going to be, we'll do some parlays, but we're not slamming these plus 10,000 tickets down your throat. And we're not, hyping each other up and do all this stuff. We're just being honest with you. We are two people who have absolutely fallen in love with this game. And we are two people that want you to take care of your mental health, cash tickets, and have some fun along the way, Ian. And it's beautiful to me.
It is beautiful. And without our loyal listeners, we wouldn't be here. And without our a wonderful team behind the scenes who are helping us right now, we wouldn't be here. We can't thank them enough as well. Whoever you are, you will and always will remain nameless. But at the same time, Buckets, we've created a monster. And with the loyal listeners, they have a role to play in this, of course. We need people to continue to subscribe. The numbers have been sensational. I mean, before we even dropped that first episode, there was 500 subscribers, and now we're almost at 1,000. And I would love episode 2 of our new edition of Stoppage Time to get us over 1,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed to the show, please do so, and please make sure you share the show as much as you possibly can, because as you share the show, more people will watch it, more people shall subscribe, and the bigger and better we will become. Follow on our social media, in particular in X, as I mentioned already before, Twitter. We're almost at 4,000. So can we get to 4,000 after the show? That would be a great achievement for me and Buckets as well. Make sure you're sharing the show and sharing content that we are putting out there on social media, because without you sharing it, it doesn't get the opportunity to have more eyeballs on it. And me and Buckets put so much effort and time right now, as you all know. We're not making any money from this. We're fucking doing this out of the good of our heart. We're fucking pretty excited because there's a lot of people who want to pay us a lot of money, but at the same fucking time, until that happens, we're doing it for fucking free, and we're doing it because we love you. We know you demand the content, and we're continuing to bring this content to you as much as we possibly can. You want more? I understand. We're going to give you more. Once we find the right partner, we'll give you more. We'll give you graphics. We'll give you podcasting, but it takes time. In the meantime, enjoy the YouTube and make sure you're sharing it as much as you possibly can. For the love of God, please comment and keep commenting. If you left a comment last week, thank you so much. That means the world to me. Make sure you drop another comment this week. If you're listening to this right now, go write a comment because that's what makes me fucking happy. I don't care about anything else. I want to hear from you, the loyal listeners. You have a voice in our show. Let us know your opinion, your thoughts, and let us know your favorite bets. Let us know if you had a big win. It doesn't matter. Just share with us your life, your story. It doesn't really matter. It means the world to me. I may get a little too excited about comments, but at the same time, fucking do so. At some point, we're going to try and reward our loyal listeners as much as we possibly can. We're going to be patient in doing so as we focus on building this beast once again. We are not too far away from having success with a partner. It will eventually come, but we want to choose the right one. And the reason why we want to choose the right one is because of our loyal listeners. We don't want you to pay for shit. This is free and it will remain free. That will always be our philosophy and idea. We have created a community, which is a place for you to go and bet responsibly in a safe environment where you will not be criticized, where you will be safe. If you lose or you win, you will be safe with me and Buckets for always. And that will never change, Buckets.
It will never change. And that is why I know deep down, Ian, that we are going to be successful because we have had opportunities and offers already to where it was basically, we'll give you guys a bunch of money, but the viewers don't matter. It's going to be behind a paywall. We're going to sell this stuff up. And you and I both, it wasn't even a conversation. It was, hey, we got this offer. No, move on. Because we are just, it's more about the money to us. It's about the viewers. It always has been, and it always will be. I promise you that. So I'm excited for the future because I know it's going to be with all of you.
After the last show, I had from CBS Sports a lot of my good friends and colleagues come up to me and just say, watch the show. It's great to have you back. People even offer an opportunity to help out and make us bigger and better if they can help out in any way. And of course, we've always kept people back from helping us right now because we're enjoying doing it on our own. But it's great to have this reaction. It's great to have this response from the loyal listeners, of course, but for people who just come up to me in work and say like, wow, fuck, it's fantastic to have the show back. How great is that? And they all know that it's a beast, it's a sleeping giant. I think we all do. And it's only a matter of time before we do find that right partner, but it will have to be the right one. Your money means nothing to us if you don't have the right idea, philosophy, if you don't have the right sentiment and you don't live the right way. Your money means nothing. We will refuse millions of dollars for this show because we want to make sure that we remain true to who we are, true for our following, true for our loyal listeners as much as we possibly can, even though Buckets will probably take a second date.
I just knew the date was going to come back into this video somehow or another. There's no way we were only going to talk about it once. Yes, I will turn down millions of dollars, but I will not turn down a second date with the pretty girl, Ian.
What's her name?
Nope. No chance.
Not yet.
Nope, not yet. We'll see how the second date goes first. Next week, we might find out. I'll say that.
All right, there you have it. The next and most greatest and latest episode of Stoppage Time is in the books. Buckets, I fucking love you, man. Continue doing what you do. You're the best in the business. 0-4 means absolutely nothing to you. We apologize that it happened, but at the same time, we know you rebound back stronger than ever. I'm really excited to see that profit from you this weekend. What are you up to this weekend before we get the fuck out of here outside of going on your second date? What are you getting up to?
Oh, that's it. That's all I've got this weekend. It's that, and then it's watch every single Bundesliga match I can possibly. Ian, I don't think you realize how much dating stresses me out. Like, that is all I'm worried about for the next 10 days. Once I get past Friday, then maybe I'll make other plans. But right now, that is it. And I still don't know what I'm doing for the date. I haven't picked anything.
Oh, I know what you're doing. Just like our loyal listeners are going to do this weekend. And just like you're going to do on the betting this weekend, you're going to absolutely have it.